Right, so here we are with the vinegar eel tutorial. Hopefully, unlike the microworm tutorial, which I said would be short, hopefully this one actually will be. Clearly, I just like to hear myself talk. So, here we are. This is really all you need. The apple cider vinegar, which, you know, clearly we need a little bit more. You can get that from Coles or Woolies. If you can find a cheaper bulk way of getting it, absolutely do it. We actually get occasionally substitute a bit of that cheaper apple cider vinegar for the really good quality stuff from chemists that's, you know, not done this way. You know how they've changed everything these days, and vinegar really isn't quite vinegar anymore. So occasionally we put the good quality stuff in. Yeah. So from what we've given you, that came from one of these. So this is the mother, I want to say mother culture. Words just hurting my head tonight. That's a mother something. You know what I mean. So yeah, that's where they all come from. There's a lot in there. We actually have, at the moment, we have 4 of these going. That's how many we have. There's so many vinegar eels. They're just absolutely going crazy. We've heard of people that have had problems keeping them going, but it's been, once again, surprisingly easy. We just keep them in a soft drink bottle like this, and that's really been that simple. So we'll kind of show you what to do and explain what to do. The sample you have came straight from there, so there's a lot. So basically you'll want to start your own. So with the tens of thousands of vinegar eels in your starter culture, you'll want to eventually pull that into something like this. So basically what we did is apple in the bottom. Doesn't really matter what apple, we just used Granny Smith. Must you always go blurry? We just used Granny Smith apples, put it into, you know, chopped into bits small enough to squish to the top of the lid. Put it in, because vinegar eels like to feed on that. Once a month I will also give it a tiny bit of sugar, like about a quarter of a teaspoon. Once again, I don't really measure. Haven't found I needed to. So about a quarter of a teaspoon once a month of sugar as well, just normal table sugar, white sugar, whatever we want to say, because they seem to live off that quite well and feed on that too. So they'll feed off the apple and the sugar, and before you know it, they should be blooming and have vinegar eels everywhere like we have. So it's as easy as putting half apple cider vinegar to half water in a container such as this soft drink bottle, just filling it up to the top with half until you leave just a bit enough space to pour your culture in at the top. Yeah, and then so obviously you put your bits of apple down through, pour your culture in, and leave off your lid because they do need air. So whatever you do, do not accidentally screw that lid on and then leave it screwed on and for, like, you know, days on end, because you will eventually just suffocate them to death, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, leave the lid little unscrewed at all times. Not so much that if you pick it up that accidentally by the lid that you drop the whole lot, because that wouldn't be great. But yeah, enough to make sure they get air through. So it's as simple as we've done it. Really easy. It's really no complications with that, and they just, before you know it, they bloom, and you have vinegar eels, more vinegar eels than you know what to do with, which is why we've started offering to sell in the starter cultures. So I'll move on to what we do to actually harvest them, because the harvesting is a bit harder than with microworms. So we got these little, very just cylindrical, got the words right, once again from the cheap stores. If you get something from cheap stores, absolutely do it. So we get these from the cheap stores, nice cylindrical. You can just use wine bottles. A lot of people use wine bottles because they have a nice long and narrow neck. You'll need some sponge filter, media, the woolly stuff, synthetic woolly stuff, and we tie a bit of like pulley string around, so when you push it in, you can pull it back out. Because the worst thing is, when it's in here like this, is trying to get it back out. So if you have a bit of string around it, you can just pull it back out without too much hassle. So the problem is with harvesting is people don't want the vinegar. So let's move these things aside. So we're harvesting, we're pouring from the main one there, pour a bunch in here, and we want to harvest it so we can feed our fry. So you pour up until, you know, about as high as you want. Let's say 4/5. And then stick the woolly thing down till it reaches the top of the vinegar. So because this is actually pre-done, it the top is wet. That wouldn't actually be wet. You'd leave the half. So top half would be dry, bottom half is in vinegar, and you leave a good bit of space above the dry part. That is where you would put your, once again, dechlorinated water or water straight from your fish tank into it. And essentially what this is for is to separate, just so the water will sit on top of the sponge, the vinegar underneath. The vinegar eels will find their way through the sponge, and eventually you'll be left with vinegar eels in the water up here, and it's safe to directly pipette that water because it's just water, it's dechlorinated water, and you're not getting the vinegar underneath. So that seems to be the easiest way that we've found and a lot of people are using, and yeah, we'd have to agree. You don't have to worry about, it's an older method which is just a nightmare. I didn't even bother trying it. This has worked really well, and yeah, without a problem. So then you can, in a couple of days, 24 to 48 hours, you'll see the vinegar eels actually in there, but because this was actually already pre-done, if this camera actually focused, you'd actually see that in ours they're already actually floating. Oh look, hey, focus, wow. So you'll zoom in. You need the sound effects. Oh, don't you do it. Don't you? There we go, look at that. So yeah, you can see in ours, because this was actually already pre-done, that they're already in there, swimming around going crazy. So you just suck them up and feed them to your fry. And boom, that's that easy. So alright. Yeah. So just keep your cultures going. Like I said, you can either, when the apple seems like it's going to mush, you can just replace it with more apple if you like. But I've just started feeding it yeah, a bit of white sugar. It seems to keep them going, and they absolutely love it and have just gone crazy. So we have vinegar eels everywhere. So once again, good luck with it. 8 minutes. Still like to hear myself talk. Oh well. Hit us up if you need to know any more, and if I've forgotten something or you think of a question, you can always ask us. We're happy to answer any questions. So alright, good luck. Cheers. Bye.